I'm Forrest Young, Head of Design at Wolff Olins, San Francisco. Wolff Olins is a creative consultancy with 3 offices in San Francisco, London, and in New York. We focus on applying creativity to solve really big, meaningful business solutions and problems. So my position, what does Head of Design mean here at Wolff Olins? It means to elevate the level of design across all of our projects, and that's both the small d design, which is essentially pushing pixels and making sure everything is high fidelity, but then also looking at putting a human at the center of everything that we do. So we really look at human-centered design as something that we're bringing to a lot of these large tech companies. So I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of famous practitioners, be they colleagues I teach alongside, like Michael Beirut, but also mentors like Allison Johnson previously when I worked at West, and then here at Wolff Olins working with the great Brian Boylan and a lot of people who help to define what branding is. And so in a lot of ways I feel so lucky to have had these mentorship experiences because I realized what is design as it's defined under the people who wrote the book on branding. And so I feel that in a lot of ways I've read from a lot of the great books and from the great masters, and so for me it's the opportunity to then shape this into something that is uniquely me and uniquely this office. So for startup entrepreneurs, for founders, I think that design sometimes is an afterthought. And it's an afterthought because usually you're looking at engineering-led cultures or building this kind of minimum viable product or prototype. And I think that this is great because you need to have something to prove that this product will amount to something. I do think that when design is too much of an afterthought, that the product and the brand run the risk of losing first mover advantage. So you can come out with a product that's working great and somebody else can essentially copy that product and design it and then eclipse that first mover advantage. And so I think design is now becoming such a powerful tool that those that are slow to wield it are oftentimes eclipsed by a copycat that's provided better design. So if you're a startup and you're thinking about setting out on your journey for brands, one is to ask yourself, is this the right time to think about branding, right? In some ways, I think that everyone feels a need to brand because everyone's aware of the language of brand. But in some cases, I think sometimes looking at brand at the wrong time does it a disservice. So I think for startups, in thinking about when to start a branding assignment is to make sure that you really have product market fit and you understand who the users are that you're trying to communicate to. That way the branding can be customized and be bespoke to these users so that it resonates, so it doesn't feel like it's watered down. And I would say that for startups and founders to look at branding as more than just a logo and a microsite. I think that a lot of people coming out of various incubators or they're starting up here in the Bay have a view that if we get a logo and we have a website, then we've quote unquote branded ourselves. And I think when you start to think holistically, that branding is really the sum of all interaction points. It's all interactions with a product, with messaging, with comms, because it's both the promise and the anticipation of what's to come, it's delivery on that promise, and it's also the resolution if that promise was unfulfilled. And it's all those touch points working together in constellation.